So we're going to do a beautiful recipe. This is like the coolest little thing to do with prawns.
You'll need fresh king prawns, garlic, limes, curry powder, and sweet mango chutney.
It's an amazing process and recipe that gives you texture, crunch, softness, sweet, sour, spice. It's really, really good. So, big pan. Let's whack that on a medium-high heat. We're going to be bigging up prawns, of course. So, we've got 300 grams of prawns here. These are absolutely delicious. They're fresh. You can see by the beautiful blue colour. I love this size. Really, really nice. I find it gives you the best kind of sweet flavour. They've got all their shells on. And I always look for the MSC approved accreditation so they're sustainable, right? So 300 grams of prawns. What I want to do is make it easy to pick it up and eat it. Most of the flavour is in the head. So I'm just going to peel the prawn all the way down to the tail. And you can leave the tail on as well. Now, by peeling this prawn, we can do a couple of other things as well. One is remove the little vein from down here. And you can do that easily by just running a knife carefully down the back of a prawn. It's very, very simple. And if you put that tip in, you'll pull out this little vein like that, and you can just lose that. But also, by running the knife down there, you're allowing this prawn to butterfly. And what that means is just to open up like a butterfly.
This is a stunning way to prep your prawns and a great tip to help them take on added flavour in the pan.
OK, so we are all done. Garlic, we're going to use quite a bit of, actually. We're going to use 6 cloves of garlic, which for 2 people, you know, that's kind of cracking on a lot, but we're going to make them sweet and delicious, so it's not going to be garlicky, sort of in a pungent, horrible way. We're going to flavour the oil to cook the prawns in, and we're going to make them like little crisps, like literally like crisps. Try and slice the garlic the same thickness. If you don't, then you won't get that lovely, even cook, so they're all crispy, crunchy. So a bit of love goes a long way. So the garlic is done. Then I'm going to be using a couple of little condiments that make this dish. First one is a good curry powder, a really nice blend of all those spices, right? Each kind of curry powder varies. Pick one that you like. They're in all the supermarkets. Then the star of the show, as well as the prawns, of course, a nice mango chutney, because you get so many layers of flavour. You get a real bang for your buck, but most importantly, you get that glaze and that sort of sweetness that riffs off the spice and off the garlic that's going to be amazing. So in a pan, I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil, and then I'm going to go in with the garlic. If you angle the pan like this, you almost create like a little mini deep fat fryer. Garlic's very sensitive. It's got natural sugars in there, and I want to fry them until they're crisp and golden. If you make them kind of go black, they'll go slightly bitter. So these are looking really good. So all the garlic's out. Now we turn the heat up, and we've got this gorgeous garlicky oil. So we go in with a teaspoon of curry powder. Just move the oil into that curry powder, and it'll just start to toast and go beautiful. Then we can go in with our prawns. And they'll go from that amazing blue colour of the raw prawn, and as the heat penetrates it, you know, it'll start turning that amazing pink. And where you've butterflied it, it'll start to transform. Here we go. Look at those colours. Woohoo! So that garlic oil is infusing with the curry powder. And don't forget, we've got loads of flavour in those prawn heads. There, look, there. Oh, yes. And they're basically done now. You don't need to overcook prawns at all. We're going to go in with one nice big spoon of mango chutney. So now the mango's in there. This is kind of the sizzle time, right? It's going to glaze it. It's going to shine. And then onto the plate we go. Some of that lovely juice just in the middle. And then we get those beautiful garlic chips and we just sprinkle those in and around. Then our last ingredient is lime. So little strokes of the lime zest makes all the difference. Then we can simply just slice that into a little wedge. A fantastic little sizzle plate. It will be impossible to not want to get stuck into that. Lime juice over the top. Don't be polite about it. Get in there. Oh yeah, absolutely delicious. The crunch of the garlic was totally worth it. Every now and again, you get a little chunk of mango. The prawns, in all of that, just work really well. You've still got the sweetness, they're perfectly cooked. Fresh, zingy, sweet and sour, hot and sizzling. I love it.
Quick to prep and ridiculously tasty. My lip-smacking sticky mango prawns, a pleasure to cook and a joy to share. Next up, my one-pan fabulous fish. A speedy supper that guarantees perfect rice every time.
I'm going to make a fantastic tray bake or pan dish. One pan,
5 ingredients, brilliant combo. Using whitefish fillets, basmati rice, green olive tapenade, cherry tomatoes, and fragrant fresh basil. Everyone needs a great one-pan dish up their sleeve, and this, my friends, is a cracker. It's super healthy. I'm using some beautiful haddock here, but you could use any lovely white fish. And I always look for the MSC-approved accreditation so they're sustainable, right? So I've got 2 chunks. So this method is brilliant. We're gonna use a casserole-style pan. It's all gonna cook in here. So put the heat on. We're gonna use 300 grams of basmati rice, which is about a mug's worth. A little pinch of salt, basic seasoning, very important. Then I'm gonna top it up with 600 mils of cold water. Straight in the pan. You wanna let it just boil for 4 minutes, okay? And by then, the rice will have started to swell, and that's when we add our fish. And then I wanna add some tapenade. So it's basically minced or chopped black or green olives. I've got green olive here. Just get 2 heaped teaspoons and just stir that through the rice. So that's a really nice basic seasoning. We're gonna give it 4 minutes, then we'll add the fish. We want 4 clear portions like that. Fantastic. Now, I've got 350 grams of cherry tomatoes. You could use any tomatoes you like, but if you have a look down the markets or supermarkets now, you'll see they're selling all kinds of wonderful colours and shapes. They're just so pretty. This is a totally stress-free supper. No tricky techniques. Simply slice your tomatoes in half. We're going to dress this with a pinch of salt and pepper, and I'm going to go in with a tablespoon each of olive oil and vinegar, and then basil. Get yourself about 8 sprigs. What I'm doing is just picking the pretty little leaves of basil and putting that to one side, and then the bigger leaves go into my salad. And then once I've got that, I'm going to just grab the basil like this and have a little tear up, and then a little toss up. So what this is going to do is season, flavour and draw out the natural moisture in those gorgeous tomatoes. This rice has had 4 minutes, so I'm going to take these beautiful fillets and I'm going to just snuffle them in there, and I'm going to sprinkle all those lovely herbs and tomatoes in and around, and then look at all those juices. Pour all those in. This is all flavour. And the rice is going to protect the fish. It will also absorb the flavour from the fish, and everything's going to share. Let that chug along for 10 minutes on a medium-high heat. Cooking everything in one pan boosts flavour and guarantees perfect rice and delicate fish. So let's have a look. Very nice. So let's try the rice. Okay, it's cooked. The last remnants of water is going, and you can see how the tomatoes have just kind of given up all their beautiful flavour. So let's turn that off now. I can hear it just crackling. Few of those lovely little basil leaves on top, little drizzle of extra virgin olive oil, and a little teaspoon of tapenade just to go down that little gully. This is real comfort food, but it also takes the fear out of 2 things. I still think there's a lot of people out there that are frightened to cook fish and rice. This solves both, and 1 thing to wash up to feed 4 people: joy. So let's have a little look at the fish. Lovely, juicy flakes of fish. And of course, we're cooking it in that fantastic moist environment, right? But it's sucking up the flavour from the tomatoes and from the tapenade. Mmm. The flavour is massive. Sweetness, saltiness. Oh, it's just delicious. And it's the quickest little dinner ever. It's 5 ingredients in a pan. 15 minutes later, you got not just food, but a feast. It is delicious. My perfect one-pan fish. Easy cooking to make you really happy at the end of a busy day. Next up, my stupidly simple crispy squid and smashed avocado. A sexy starter for sharing that you can rattle out in minutes. It's a great, great combo. People go nuts for this. You'll need fresh squid, wholemeal flour, hot chili sauce, avocado, and fresh limes. I want to show you how to make something that I love to do at home as a starter or as a nice little sort of nibble on a lovely summer's day, glass of wine, really civilised but good flavours. So first up, about 1 centimetre, just over, of olive oil. I'm going to heat that up on a medium-high heat, so that's doing its thing. Next up, 250 grams of squid. And for extra texture, use the tentacles and all. So I'm going to line up the squid and just cut it into centimetre slices, like so.
I think people are quite scared to cook squid at home. So clearly there's like a little worry about how do you do it? You know, is it complicated? So let's kind of go for it because it is a wonderful little treat to master. So squid goes in. We're going to add whole wheat flour, handful, a couple of tablespoons, and we're just going to toss that around and it will immediately stick to it. So that's your coating. So when you're tossing these up, just make sure you open up the little squid, you know, so you can get the flour in there. And if you want to add more, then feel free to add a little bit more flour and just make it light and covered and fantastic. So look at that. Legs, tube, frills. Nice.
Get your oil nice and hot, then pop a piece of squid in as a test. When it turns golden, it's time to get your squids in.
So that's frying quite nicely. And we're going to go straight in to our oil.
This is a super speedy way to cook, but always take care when you're frying.
So we're going to cook this for about 3 to 4 minutes until really crispy and golden. So that's the perfect amount of time to make our smashed avocado. It couldn't be simpler.
Just halve it, stone it, and peel.
Grab a fork and I'll just give it a nice little mash up. Let's season this up. So we want double flavour out of this line. Get a fine little grater. We want the zest. And there's so much flavour in the zest. In with the lime juice. Look at that. You want it to have that kind of attack. A little pinch of salt and pepper. Give it a good old mix. Delicious. I'm going to do this as a share plate. I'm going to take our lovely smash here to just use the back of the spoon just to sort of give it a little smudge around like that. So this is looking really good now.
In just a few minutes, your squid will be golden and crispy. A stunning seafood starter or sharing plate ready in no time.
Look at the colour, guys. Look at the colour. Then just give it a little season with sea salt. Give it a little jiggle about to get rid of that excess oil. And then just make your stack of squid, legs, frilly bits. Look at that. A couple of pieces of the lime. And then good old chili sauce. Give it a nice little drizzle around. And there you have it. Crispy squid, smashed avo. What a joy. So come on, let's make a mess. Let's get in there. Chili sauce. Oh. So good. Quite like getting the little rings and just kind of filling it up with the avocado. A proper little classic, 5 ingredients and glorious.
My souped up crispy squid and lime smashed avocado. No fuss food that's a pleasure to make and an irresistible treat to share. First up, my supercharged sesame seared tuna with a cheeky hack for an instant Asian flavour punch. A joyful dish that's unbelievably quick and ridiculously easy.
So we're going to do a beautiful seared sesame tuna. It takes less than 10 minutes to cook. It's really healthy. You're going to love it.
Using fresh tuna steaks, Japanese miso paste, sesame seeds, spring onions, and crunchy sugar snap peas.
So let's put those 5 things together in the most beautiful way. Let me show you our tuna here. When it's kind of shiny and clear and rosy red, you know it's worth buying. Stick to yellowfin or skipjack tuna. They're much more sustainable. Look for the MSC certified approval, which is really, really important. Absolutely beautiful. Now, we're going to encrust that with sesame seeds. It's going to give you the most amazing texture, crunch, flavour. It's really, really good. But to stick that to that, we need a nice little surprise ingredient that you might not have used before, miso. You can get it in all the supermarkets, and this is a fermented bean product. You get this amazing sort of big, meaty, savoury, salty flavour. It's really useful to season the fish and let the sesame seeds stick to it. It couldn't be any simpler. Get yourself a nice heaped tablespoon of the miso and just divide it onto the 2 chunks of fish.
Miso paste gives an instant hit of Asian umami flavour. Simply slather it on all sides of the steak.
Now what I want to do is get the sesame seeds and just sprinkle those on a little board like that, and we'll take our tuna steak and then just plop it on. Just shake it like that, and essentially what we've done is we've created almost like a breadcrumb topping, but with sesame seeds. Look at that. Couldn't be easier. A great trick to learn. And look at that, it looks cool, it will taste cool, it protects the fish, it flavours the fish. 3 ingredients working really hard, and 1.5 minutes on each side, super quick cooking. So, pan, medium heat, tablespoon of olive oil, and just lay that tuna in the pan. Just press the steaks a little bit to make it really flat.
While the tuna sears, it's time to prep your veg.
Slice the spring onions at an angle, about the same length as the sugar snap peas. And if you kind of look at this, guys, it's kind of the same size, right? You've got lovely sweet sugar snap peas and a little slice of spring onion. Beautiful. Take a little look at these steaks. And for me, the genius of this dish is by the time the sesame seeds are golden, the fish is blushing and perfectly cooked inside. You can see the little bits where the miso's just caught a little bit and caramelised. We always presume that tuna has to be cooked all the way through. Fresh tuna's a different game, right? You're supposed to cook it almost like, you know, lamb or steak. You know, leave some blush in there, some red, and then that way it's incredibly elegant.
This really is quick-fire cooking. With the tuna steak cooked to perfection, let it rest for a couple of minutes while you flash fry the veg.
Turn the gas up, and we go straight in with the sugar snap peas and the spring onions. There's hardly any oil in that pan, okay? So it's going to kind of scald and char a little bit, and you're going to see like the little thin layer of the sugar snap peas sort of bubble up a bit and kind of just take on colour, and it'll be so sweet on the inside. So it's a lovely way to cook because it feels smoky and sweet. And these just need literally 2 minutes in a pan. And as it heats up the sugar snap, it kind of like swirls up with steam. A little pinch of salt, and then just a little bit of vinegar, tiny bit. And it'll cook away. And it just gives it that little element of, like, on the back of the mouth that works really, really well. Gorgeous. Go back to our lovely little steaks here. I'm going to slice them across, about 1 centimetre thick. You've got that contrast of the crispy golden top with the light, delicate tuna. So I'm just going to lay that over the veggies. Lovely bit of extra virgin olive oil. Come on. Let's have a little try. Oh, yeah. It's so good. So quick, so healthy, and something a little bit different. Delicious.
A supercharged 10-minute meal for days when life's too busy for complicated cooking.
We're going to make the most amazing, quick little dinner. It's delicious. I love this dish.
Using hand-dyed scallops, black pudding, frozen peas, mint, and perfect spuds for mashing.
Seared scallops with crispy black pudding, hear me out, with crispy mint and smashed peas and potato. 5 ingredients working really, really hard.
First job, get the mash on. Cut 400 grams of Maris Piper potatoes into 2-centimetre chunks.
I'm not going to peel it, so I'm saving time. And also, a lot of the nutrition is in the skin, so I gain nothing. I gain nothing in this dish by sitting there peeling it, right? Because we're going to have peas in there as well. Lovely, vivid, green, gorgeous, sweet pea, potato mash. Calm down, Jamie, it's just a dish. We'll boil those for about 10, 12 minutes. They'll cook really quick because you've cut them really small. So, scallops, black pudding, it's a beautiful combination. Don't knock it until you've tried it. Have a look at these scallops. They're beautiful. They're really amazing things.
While the mash cooks, you've got plenty of time to prep the other 4 ingredients.
Let's talk about herbs. Mint, love it, one of my favourite herbs. Take the bigger leaves and pick them off, put them to one side, and then you can take your smaller leaves. These are going to be fried. And many people have never, ever fried mint before, and it is a joy. The big leaves are going to go in the mash. OK, so let's take a nice little chunk off the black pudding here.
All 5 ingredients need to work really hard, and black pudding is your fast track to flavour and texture.
It cooks up so crispy and amazing. So that goes in the pan first, and then what I'm going to do is just prep my scallops a little bit. I'm going to leave most of these whole, but I do want to show you a preparation with our little scallop. If I just score this, you know, very carefully, it's very easy, it's nothing chefy at all, halfway down, like a little chessboard, that will open out like a flower. and it creates texture. So we're going to just add a little tablespoon of olive oil. Season the scallops with a little salt. Not too much. Remember, they're from the sea. Then we're going to go with the 2 scored ones first, and you see what happens.
Scallops are brilliant when you're in a hurry because they cook so quickly. Simply sear them for 2 minutes on each side.
And we'll go in with the mint leaves. And they're going to go really crispy and they'll snap in your mouth. It's mint like you've never really seen it before. And as you can see, it's all going at the same time. This is really, really exciting cooking. Crispy black pudding, scallops searing, we've got mint getting crispy. We've got potatoes here, they're nearly there, they're like a minute away. So I'm going to put in some frozen peas. And frozen peas are like the most incredible workhorse in any kitchen.
Put 200 grams of peas in with the spuds, saving time and washing up.
Peas boiling with potatoes. Scallops searing. Beautiful. Look at that. And it's just caught beautifully. And this piece of black pudding here, just bust it up, break it up, because I want it to be really crispy, like little sprinkles. And if you don't like the idea of black pudding, you put in some lovely smoked bacon. Beautiful. Really, really nice. So I'm going to grab this mint that I picked, slice that up, and that's ready for our beautiful minted pea smashed potato.
Drain your peas and potatoes and just let them steam. Add the chopped mint and then mash it up.
We always make mash with butter, and actually if you make it with really nice cold pressed extra virgin olive oil, you can make an incredible mash. We'll season that with salt and pepper. I'll take this mash, and if you wanted to make it smoother, you could, but I quite like just keeping it rough and ready. Let's get our little scored one, just so you can see what's going on. Gorgeous. Look at the mint. Really, really crisp. The great British black pudding. Crispy, super savoury, and ridiculously tasty. Come on. There you go. Really nice, exciting plate of food. Comfort food of mashed potatoes, crunchy bits. So good. You know, I love the idea of this being for 2 people. You know, it's something you can cook so quickly, so effortlessly. The combo does all the hard work for you. Proper cooking. Delicious.
A gorgeous stress-free supper for 2 that's so quick and easy. When you don't have the time or energy for complicated cooking, this is the perfect date night dinner.
It's going to be so good. It's going to be really colourful. It's super quick. It's healthy. And yes, it's luxurious with the crab. It's such a cracker of a dish.
Using pre-cooked crab, cherry tomatoes, red chilli, fresh fennel, and good old spaghetti.
So look, here is our beautiful crab meat. You can get this from supermarkets, and they do some pretty good stuff these days. Or of course, you can order it in from your fishmongers. They have it picked and dressed. I think probably crab is one of my favourite things in the world.
I'm using a mixed pot of white and brown crab meat. It's outrageously tasty. And as it's already been cooked, it's a real speed demon.
If you've never tried it before, it's sweet, it's flaky. Get out there, it's so good. So first up, fennel. And in this dish, these little tops act as little fronds, little herbs, little sprinkles at the end. And they're beautiful. So we'll reserve those and keep those for later. The toughest part of the fennel will be these little stalky parts here. Finely chop these, just like that. Any old way, just get them fine. The finer you chop them, the quicker they'll get tender. I'm going to put a pan on a high heat. I've got a pan of boiling water going, olive oil, a little drizzle goes in, and we go in with the fennel stalks, and then with the bulb, look at that. It's beautiful. Let's cut it in half. I want to show you what's inside. The thing I love about fennel is you can steam it and dress it. roast it. You can put it in with your boiled potatoes and then mash it. There's so much you can do with this beautiful vegetable. Really nice. So just finely slice fennel up, any old how. Don't stress about it. Like that.
Into a hot pan, add salt and black pepper.
Have a little shake up. Lid on top, so we're frying, caramelisation, and steaming, softening and sweetening.
This 2-in-1 fry and steam method is a quick and easy way to cut down on your cooking time, but guarantee flavour.
Next up, we're going to go in with the pasta. So I'm going to use 150 grams of spaghetti. This is enough for 2 people. Get your hand around it, twist it, in we go. So let that boil away, nice and fast. It's all going to be done by the time this is cooked. And the thing I love about this recipe is it's just so simple.
While the pasta cooks, with the fennel almost ready, it's time to bring together the rest of the sauce.
I'm using cherry tomatoes, any you can get your hands on. It doesn't really matter what you do, but you can half or quarter these. Now, chilli. All I'm going to do is put the tip of the knife in the end, split it lengthwise. The really hot part of the chilli are the seeds. So if we remove those, what we can do is start celebrating the chili's kind of fruitiness. So have a little look in here. See how you got some colour there? That's fine, that's nice, we like that. Then we're going to go in with the chilli and the tomatoes, and we're going to toss that through. And then we're going to go in for the last minute with the crab. So the brown meat here, this is maximum flavour, OK? We're going to go in with the brown meat and the white meat.
All you need to do to the crab is heat it through. It's one of the fastest flavour boosts around.
Mix it up, really stir in that brown meat because it's going to really be silky and delicious and be the most wonderful, wonderful seasoning to this dish. And then drag the pasta in. Don't go putting it in a colander, right? That starchy cooking water is really, really important because that's what creates silky sauce. So we don't want it claggy. Chili loves seafood, it loves crab. Tomatoes the same. You know, fennel works with everything. It's just a beautiful celebration of the sea. I'm so excited to try this, I really am. And to finish, just a tiny bit of cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil. Oh, come on. I am literally so chuffed right now. That is one of my favourite pastas. It just makes me want to smile, and it's just so good.
My super speedy crab spaghetti. A date night dinner to die for that's so quick and easy. First, my quick Asian fish cakes. A speedy salmon supper that's easy to prep when you can't be doing with complicated cooking.
It's the coolest dish ever. You're going to look like a hero, and it's a joy to make.
Using salmon fillets, lemongrass, ginger, fresh coriander, and sweet and spicy chili jam.
OK, so I'm going to give you a recipe for the most incredible handmade, homemade fish cakes. Start to finish in no time at all. Pan on. We're going to use salmon, nice little salmon fish cakes. 500 grams of salmon. Get it from your fishmonger or your supermarket. Skin off, no bones.
This is effortless cooking at its best. Just chop up the salmon with these Asian ingredients.
We're bigging up flavour with ginger, lemongrass. It's a beautiful, fragrant thing, and using a lot of sort of Asian cooking. I'm just going to take the ends off like that, and then we're just going to give it a little spank with the side of a knife. Look at that. Absolutely amazing. And if you smell it, it's kind of like lemonade. It's kind of like sherbet dip. It's so fragrant. Wicked ingredient. And then you want a nice little sort of chunk of ginger, about a little inch-sized piece. I've been quite wasteful with the skin, but I quite like to make cups of tea out of that, and it's delicious. I'm using the herb coriander, really nice, really fragrant. I want you to pick a few beautiful garnishy little leaves, right, for a bit of sprinklage a little bit later. Then the rest, we're going to hack it up. Lay the fish on here. I'm going to slice half of it into centimetre chunks, like this, and then into little dice. That's going to be the texture and the juicy bits, right? And then the other half, we're gonna go pasty. So what's genius about this is we're just gonna keep on chopping and chopping into the ginger and the lemongrass, and there is absolutely no chef talent here whatsoever. You can see I've got my hand on the end of the knife, it's safe, and we're just gonna keep on running through it, mashing it up, you know, mincing it. You can use the side of the knife just to smudge it and smash it, and that's gonna create the most incredible paste that binds the fish cake without having to use egg whites or corn flour.
This speedy, no-fuss technique is the simplest way to bind your fish cakes. Next up, a pinch of sea salt and pepper.
And now we can bring it all together. And then you can still chop it a little bit, but there you go. We're basically done.
These are the quickest fish cakes ever. Just divide them up and shape them up.
I'm going to use no oil at all. There is enough natural fat in this salmon. All those fantastic omega-3s. See how rough that is? I haven't formed it. Let it not be perfect. This is homemade, light, vibrant flavours. It's going to fall apart in your mouth, right? You're going to hardly have to chew. It's just going to eat itself. Delish. Around about 2 minutes on each side. I can rattle this out in under 10 minutes, start to finish cooked. I'm going to turn the first one. Look at that, lightly golden. We don't want to overcook these. Now let's do the cool bit. Some chili jam. It's sweet and sour, and you're going to get a nice big bang for your buck.
A simple teaspoon on each is a great hack for a super quick sweet and spicy glaze.
I'm going to push it over the edge. And the fact that these are a little bit gnarly, that's still good. And I just want to turn it over, back on that other side for like 30 seconds. It's so quick. It's a brilliant thing to put in your repertoire when you're cooking for the ones that you love. And I love just to rack these up, put them in the middle of the table, glass of wine with friends, you know, do whatever you want. And then get your nice coriander, put it in and around. I'm telling you, if your friends try that, you can make that in front of them. They'll be like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Let's get in there, bust it open. Look how crumbly it is. So light and delicate and gorgeous. Oh, so simple, so quick. And of course, you could have it in a patty, in a pita bread, with rice, with noodles, whatever you want. But that is a fantastic little tip to make your own fish cakes. Delicious.
A show-stopping supper for days when life's too busy for complicated cooking.